The images are familiar to every kid in America. In this magical place where families go for fun, NASCAR kicks off its celebration of a half-century of racing excitement. Speed World welcomes you to Disney World on opening day of the '98 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. When the whistle blew here a year ago, Joe Ruttman won amid controversy. Then he bookended the campaign with season-ending victories in California and Las Vegas. The '96 champ Ron Hornaday, they celebrated a lot late in the year, but too many early season moments like this left his championship defense hanging out to dry. In the end, it was the artful balancing act of Jack Sprague that prevailed. He mixed victory with consistency in just the right proportion and delivered the Craftsman title to Hendrick Motorsports. Now, the NASCAR cast of characters are back in search of championship magic. The moment has come. As the 25th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom winds down, we salute 50 years of NASCAR. Live from Walt Disney World Speedway, ESPN Speed World brings you the Chevy Truck Challenge, 200 laps of excitement. From a huge field of hopefuls, these are the trucks that survive. These teams found the speed to qualify. These drivers have a shot at the glory. We're right here in the heart of Disney World, where the primary attraction that has drawn the big crowd today is the kickoff of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
60 trucks invaded Walt Disney World Speedway earlier this week. We've already sent 24 of them home. How tough was it to make this 36-truck field? Just 0.3 of a second separate the top 27 qualifiers based on time. That's the closest margin in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series history. You think the tough part's over? Well, now you just got to make it to the finish line. And only one team goes home a winner.
Let me tell you how tough this track is. On Friday, in the afternoon practice session, 1997 Series champion Jack Sprague took his Quaker State Chevy out on the track and turned the fastest time. He came back to the garage. All he did was change tires. He went back out and put his truck in the wall in turn 2. This is one attraction that is no place for kids. But they got out the backup truck, and Sprague qualified 3rd. But look who he's surrounded by. Ron Hornaday starts 2nd, and starting 4th will be Mike Wallace. These 3 trucks are separated by just 3/1000ths of a second, but still they weren't fast enough to win the pole. You've heard how Jack Roush has 5 teams in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. He has 3 in the Craftsman Truck Series, and one of them is on the pole. Chuck Bound will lead this field to the green flag in 1998. Here at Disney World, 36 trucks are ready to roll. And that has NASCAR fans and 101 Dalmatians.
Racing fans, 36 trucks are here on pit road awaiting the words from this man. Rick Baldick, the assistant brand manager of Chevy full-size trucks, will issue the command to open NASCAR's 50th anniversary season.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
As the engines come to life, there is excitement in the air. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain with Benny Parsons. Welcome to Florida. It's not just because we're down here at this time of the year, big guy. All the hype, all the hope, all the expectation. More and more, this race feels like Daytona for the Winston Cup guys.
I think this does act like the Daytona for the Craftsman Truck Series. As I said, 60 trucks showed up. Only 36 will race today. 24 goes on. We kept talking about speed and how close the competition. Just 0.3 of a second from the fastest qualifier to the 28th qualifier. What does that mean to you folks? Passion is going to be difficult. If someone gets by, trust me, there will be some rugged.
This race kind of stands all by itself. It's 2 months till the next one. You can afford to take a chance here. You got lots of time to fix it. Let's take a look at the starting lineup, led from the pole by Chuck Bound. The front row also includes the '96 champ Ron Hornaday, who had so much trouble here last year.
Back in row 2 is Jack Sprague alongside Mike Wallace.
Row 3, I like. It speaks to this whole field. Mike Skinner, the inaugural series champion, and Tony Roper, the youngster. Benny, as we look at this lineup, there are 6 rookies in the field and a huge bunch of talent way in the back. It's a real jumble, and strategy seems to me to be way wide open.
You've got to go hard. We see Tony Raines there did not qualify for this race last year. Brett Bodine, Winston Cup driver, making an appearance here.
One of the big issues is going to be fuel mileage. We see Ruttman there, the defending champion, one of the trucks that gets great mileage.
And that's one reason that NASCAR is going to force these trucks to go past. There's we see Greg Biffle there, winter heat champion from this year and also back in 1996.
Good qualifying effort for Biffle. A lot of Bodines in the field, a couple of them. There is Barry Bodine. He, of course, is Jeff's son, the veteran Bob Keselowski, who won at Richmond earlier this year, or last year, we should say.
Tommy Archer is in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series this year.
I want you to check these guys out from here on back. There's Rich Bickle. He's in on a provisional. That whole story lately. But look at the back of this field. Jimmy Hensley, Jay Sauter in a truck that has previously won the championship. Butch Miller had to go through a consolation race. Wayne Anderson, he's a newcomer. But here's Kirk. She's a veteran of last year. Tolsma, who won a race last year. And in the back row, a Winston Cup guy and Bobby Hamilton, and the veteran Dave Resendiz. This is a tough field to make.
This is Butch Miller's Dana Dodge onboard camera in this truck.
Boy, we've got cameras all over this field. Jimmy Hensley, you'll ride with him in the Cummins Dodge.
Also, Rich Bickle in MCI Dodge has a camera today.
It's Dominic Dobson's truck, but Dominic rep in practice, and now Butch is in. The 19 is Tony Raines. That's the Pennzoil truck. Greg Biffle. In the 80, the Granger truck.
And there's 19, the Pennzoil yellow freight truck of Tony Raines. This is a Ford this year.
And we work our way up toward the front of the field and ride with Mike Bliss, the Team ASE N3. Mike Bliss very fast here this weekend. Qualifying was kind of a disappointment.
And there we see Boris Sid in the Federated Auto Parts truck owned by Ernie Irvin, Brian Semo.
The view from the front row is this. You're on board with Ron Hornaday and the Napa truck. Let's go to Marty quickly.
You mentioned Mike Bliss. His crew chief, Barry Dodson, is worried about tire wear today. It's so much so that he's taken camber out of the right front. And he's also detuned the motor. Don't be surprised if they're not moving to the front early. They want to make sure they're there at the end.
Guys that are at the back of the field don't have the luxury of backing off. They have to get through that pack to try and avoid any possible trouble. They must tackle the difficult challenge of finding speed and saving their tires. Look for NASCAR to throw a caution around lap 60, bring in 3 trucks, and check right side tires for wear. Goodyear has told NASCAR these tires should be good for 150 laps. We're all going to find out together.
To elaborate a little on that fuel situation, Benny, the traditional midway break in this race will actually come well past midway, somewhere around lap 120. Explain why that is.
Well, NASCAR is going to make sure that each of these trucks have to stop, have to put fuel in, and they want to get to a point that all the trucks can run the second half of the race without stopping for fuel. They don't want this to be a fuel race. They want the fastest truck to be the winner.
Joe Ruttman, of course, won races last year on fuel mileage. Here's the layout. It's a 1-mile oval, and it's a strange one, Benny.
It says tri-oval, and that's exactly right. There's 3 distinct corners here. The front straightaway, 910 feet. The middle straight, 1,000 feet. The back straight, 572. Corners are banked different, 10 degrees, 8.5 degrees, and 70.
Most guys call it 3 corners. Some say as many as 7. Archer says, I think it's 3 corners and 2 hills. Here's trouble for Barfield. Ron Barfield's truck has not fired.
Wow.
Bad way to start the season. Actually, he was out, made a lap, and has now come in for whatever the attention of the crew is here. This, of course, is the former Bill Elliott fleet of trucks that were purchased by Charles Hardy, and their driver having a tough start here. He will be able to circle around, I think, and catch up with the tail end of the field, but they are coming down to the green flag, so he'll be dead last, way behind.
And it's 45 miles per hour on pit road, and that's even right now. He does not want to exceed that speed, and the truck is not up to that. Bill Weber, what's going on?
It's a fuel starvation problem. It's acting like it has no fuel in it, Benny. Green flag coming up, guys.
Green flag, green flag.
moment for Hornaday. He tried to go on the inside of Bound, got pinched down in the grass, looking for traction, went down pit road. Crazy.
And the caution flag waves because Ron Barfield has stalled over in the second corner.
What a wild start to the 1998 season. Benny, I haven't seen anything like that in years.
Wow.
Oh, man. Oh, so Chris Morgan puts the yellow in the air before we complete a lap of action, but it certainly was exactly that. I got to see this again.
Here they are coming off the first corner, down the backstretch, and there we see that Bound and Hornaday, both of them go on pit road. Bound gets back on the racetrack. Now, Hornaday here will drive back on the racetrack off pit road right in front of a bunch of traffic. And it's lucky there was more crash than that. Marty Reed?
Well, one of the things that may be a factor is we just found out before the start of the race, he came down with the flu bug last night, so he was not in great shape to start this race. He may have damage on the right front fender. He may have to bring it in.
Wow, that was bizarre. That was Daytona 79 all over again. Hornaday has an onboard camera. Here's how it looked.
He gets a great run off the corner, goes down to the inside. Chuck Bound says, I want to lead that first lap. There we see the contact, and there we see them both on pit road across the grass. What a start.
Unbelievable kickoff to the 1998 season. We'll take a break and be back with more. We're back with ESPN Speed World coverage brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil. And by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. We're back to green. We just seen the flag go in the air after a wild start. A little more tame restart. Perhaps we've learned something here, Parsons. It's a long race and a long season.
Well, Hornaday is on the outside now, trying to get that by Mike Skinner. That's Mike Skinner, the 5 truck, yellow truck, on the inside. Battle for the lead. Chuck Bound the leader. Mike Wallace in second place in the Purelator truck.
More on Hornaday from Marty.
Ron Hornaday called in the crew. He said, I actually hooked my right front with his left rear. He drugged me down that straightaway on the backside, and he was actually pulling off the throttle trying to break free. Could not do it. They're still worried about a possible rub, and there is a lot of damage on the left rear quarter panel of the 99 truck as well. Billy.
Heartbreaking start for Ron Barfield. His truck is acting like it's not getting any fuel, so he limped back to the pits. They bypassed a filter in the fuel cell area, and they've sent him back out. They're hoping that has solved the problem.
Mike Wallace with the 75th anniversary colors of Purelator steps up and says, I'll take a shot at the leader. Bound, nothing on the bottom. Bound's keeping that covered pretty effectively today. Wallace looks up high as they battle for the lead, and Jack Sprague, last year's champion, moves up into third spot.
There we see Tony Raines of Pennzoil Ford this year, and I'm told that he'll be black flag for passing before the start-finish line. And the black flag is given to Tony Raines. Tough break. That's Andy Houston on the outside of him.
Obviously, he's not raced here before. He didn't qualify last year. Perhaps that little bit of adrenaline pump, over-eager, made the pass before the green and will now pay the penalty in Kurt Rohrig's truck. Leader's pulling away a little bit. Sprague, conservative in the early going. He's got Skinner in tow as they head down the front straightaway. But there's the gap from second back to third. Hornaday has settled into 5th spot, not attempting to advance, but covering the position very effectively.
You'll see Mike Bliss and the 44 truck of Boris Sid. That's Boris's 9th, and the 2 is 10th. And folks, we have telemetry. It's back. We check the RPMs as he accelerates down the straightaway. 8,500 RPMs as he hit the brake, down to about 90 miles per hour. High 80-mile-per-hour range. Now he will accelerate. And once again on the brakes. This is a tough racetrack on brakes. Hit the brakes hard going in all 3 of these corners, and they are distinct corners.
That's The rookie Scott Walters in front of Seth, running in the 8th spot. Qualified very well. That red man truck on which he was once the crew chief. Now we look out the back of Morissette's Federated Auto Parts truck and see the nose of Mike Bliss's machine, which I, frankly, Benny, expected to be closer to the front of this field after practice.
Well, Marty Reed told us that they made some changes on the truck this morning, trying to get tire life out of them. They're really concerned about the tires having to run 120 miles.
Bliss very fast through practice, but didn't qualify all that well. Now rounds out the top 10. He is the 10th truck. That's 8th, 9th, and 10th. Here's the big battle from about 13th or 14th on back, led by Kevin Harvick.
Harvick, Brett Bodine. There's Harvick in 75, the Spears manufacturing truck.
Good young West Coast driver. Worked in Spears' shop first part of last year. Ended up in the cockpit.
Hornaday and Skinner, two champions in this division of the Craftsman Truck Series, battling each other. Right now, Skinner is running in 4th spot. Hornaday in 5th.
Just like old times.
Just like old times, only Skinner's in the 5 instead of a black number 3. This truck, the 5 truck, is going to run about 10 times this year. Jamie Skinner, Mike's son, is going to drive the truck some this year. And hopefully we'll run an entire season in 1999 for Rookie of the Year in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Combine that with the Bodine story, Barry getting in the truck owned by Jeff, and we begin to see some of the great generational heritage that's well known in Winston Cup filtering its way into the relatively new truck series. This is the 4th year the trucks have campaigned. They'll run this year for more than $6 million. The growth is phenomenal in this division.
And we see that the 10 truck is closed in on the back of Hornaday. That's Lonnie Rush in the 10. And right now, Hornaday has fallen back from Skinner.
Lonnie Rush has had a great week down here. That's a blue truck just moving to the bottom of your frame. Qualified 7th. Boy, they were happy about that. And driver out of Pickerington, Ohio, in the A&G Coal Corporation entry. Battles all the way back through the field. Harvick seems to have fallen off the pace in the blue and white 75. He's dropped a couple of positions here.
And he moves over, and you see Jimmy Hensley going by. Also Butch Miller.
They look like a couple of Dodges hooked up and going to the front to you. Those two guys did not qualify well, but they are both very skilled. View from the Cummins Dodge as he chases the Dana Dodge. 6 factory Dodge entries in the series this year as Dodge picks up its support. The view out the back
of the Dana Dodge, currently running in 23rd spot. Jimmy Hensley in 24th.
Again, they qualified back in 32nd and 33rd position, so they have knocked off nearly a dozen drivers, and Hensley says, Butch, pick it up a little or I'm coming by.
Wow. He was right. Just inches apart. But he has position now, does Jimmy Hensley in the Cummins Dodge. Butch is not laying over. Running pretty good on the outside. This is the second corner, a very short straightaway, about 500 feet long now, into turn 3 as he comes down the straightaway. And look at the run that Butch Miller got off on the outside. Reed takes that spot.
How about this? But I just got to wait for the racetrack to come back to me. This is good. Side by side, another of the Dodges has a problem. Tommy Archer has gone to pit road. Apparently it's a power steering problem. Hensley is finally able to complete the pass on Butch Miller after a couple of laps of side-by-side racing. Great competition here at Walt Disney World Speedway. Back into the fray comes Ron Barfield after the early difficulties with the fuel pickup dropped him off the pace. And the race long leader, Chuck Bound, who led 10 laps in 2 races last year altogether, has led this one virtually the entire way. 20 down, 180 to go. We'll be right back with more. Here's something new, Disney's Wide World of Sports. It's a complete sports complex, including a 7,500-seat ballpark where the Atlanta Braves will have spring training. It is a showcase of professional and amateur athletes. It includes a 5,000 seat field house, 5,000 feet of clay court tennis, a lot of activities. It all kind of started this diversification with the building of this racetrack. Now they have championship golf courses, 6 in all, totaling 99 holes. It is definitely not just a theme park anymore. You need to come down to Disney World. If you haven't seen it lately, you have not seen it. This race, of course, is in its 2nd year, and this year it is led by Chuck Bound, who kind of grabbed it by the throat from the pole, denied Hornaday the opportunity to make the early pass, and is now hanging on to a substantial lead. He has pulled away a bit from Mike Wallace, who sits there in 2nd spot under increasing pressure from Jack Sprague, your reigning series champion.
Sprague is getting his act together, getting closer and closer to the lead. The 16 truck of Ron Hornaday is back in 4th spot. He's been able to get by Mike Skinner, and the green and yellow truck of Ron Barfield is 3 laps down now.
Barfield having problems before the race ever started. Had to go to pit road. If you've just joined us, Bound and Hornaday had a shoving match that has left the right front of the number 16 a bit dented. They actually ran right here, down through that grass and onto pit road in a wild moment to kick off what promises to be an exciting 27-race campaign in 1998. Skinner losing ground definitely to Hornaday, and there's the lap truck of number 35, Ron Barfield. Here you pick up the rest of your running order. That's Lonnie Rush into 10 and Mike Bliss into 2. Bliss trying to work his way forward.
That's 6th and 7. Lonnie Rush in 6. Mike Bliss in 7. As we ride along with the Mike Bliss truck.
Ultra Wheels operation has been in this series since the get-go. The 50 is Ruttman, who's moving up nicely as Bliss makes the move on Rush. Watch Ruttman go with him.
And here comes the 31 truck of Tony Roper, and here's a battle for 2nd spot. Sprague takes over 2nd from Mike Wallace.
Jack taking his time settling in, but now says it's time to go. Hornaday doesn't want to let him get away. He moves up the tailgate of the Purelator truck to see if there's something there. Wallace covers the bottom and hangs on to 3rd. Hornaday seems to have gathered things back up here after that rocky early start. Goes to the inside on Wallace and will drive right by. Good move.
We'll put Ron Hornaday in the 3rd spot.
We'll keep a close eye on Wallace's truck here to see if he's lost something besides 2 positions in 1 lap. Take a look at your Napa Field summary. Bound has led it from the get-go. Sprague and Hornaday now 2nd and 3rd. They jog back through the field. Rush has slipped all the way to 9th. He, too, is losing ground.
In parentheses, where this truck started the event, we see Nemechek up to 14th from 26th.
Fast guys going to the front is going to be very much a story in this race because in the tail end of this field, a tremendous group of talent. Look at Miller. He's gone from 32nd to 22nd, taking Bickle with him and Hensley, too. Sauter, on the other hand, hadn't moved up so much.
I see Barfield, 35th, 3 laps down, and Tommy Archer, 13 laps down, as this truck still sits on pit road.
Ruttman always gets a lot of attention, in part because of his sense of humor, in part because of his driving style, and here, of course, because he is the defending race champion. He started 15th. He sits in 7th spot, and he has Mike Bliss in his sights. You're saying to yourself, why 50? Why not 80? He used to be number 80, but as we watch, we check out Ruttman's progress through the field, I'm sure Benny Parsons can explain precisely the reason for the number change.
Well, Jack Roush fielded a 3rd truck team this year, Greg Biffle, and he has a sponsor, W.W. Granger. So, to ensure Biffle beat in all the shows, they felt like the Ruttman would be a better qualifier than Biffle early on. So They gave Biffle the 80 card, and so they gave him the owner points to get him in these shows in case he were to qualify for it.
Looking at the now number 50 truck out the back of the Team ASE entry of Mike Bliss here. Rutman was the top performer on the miles last year. In 6 races, he had an average finish of 4th. He won 2, including this one. He's going nowhere at the moment. Bliss is as good as he is. That interval is stable. We followed it here for a couple of laps. Sprague, however, I think is starting to maybe nibble away at Chuck Bound. He's not going to let this be a runaway.
Yes, he is. He's, as a matter of fact, a little bit faster. And check the interval in the last 5 laps. Jack Sprague was 1.3 seconds behind. He closed up to just 0.7 seconds behind the leader as he tries to go by Cherry Cook. I'm talking about Bound, the leader, trying to get by Cook. He does. But that slowed him down just a little bit. Allowed Jack Sprague to get ever closer.
Sprague will now have to deal with Cook's lap truck, but safe to say, I think, that Jack is on the attack, hoping to recoup what he lost here a year ago. He led at the white flag. Rutman nudged him out of the way going into turn 1. He slapped the wall and wound up 15. Here's Sprague moving around Cook and continuing his assault on the leader, who started this race from the pole. On board with Greg Biffle, the Granger, number 80, as we bring you the action live from Walt Disney World Speedway, Lake Buena Vista, Florida. We'll be right back. It didn't take long for the 1998 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series to get exciting. Lap 1, Hornaday tries to pass. Bound takes him through the grass and onto the entrance of pit road. Bound leads lap 1. Wow. Speed World is here live for the 1998 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series kickoff for Ron Hornaday. An exciting start. Last year, trouble at this race. All of last year, in fact, Hornaday was plagued with difficulties. The bump in the road, it's the bottom line on the graphic. DNFs, 5 of them last year, hampered his championship defense. So even though he won 4 races en route to the title and 7 last year, yeah, it was a spectacular comeback, but those early DNFs killed his title hopes.
Ron Hornaday, a veteran. Next we'll go to Greg Biffle, number 80 there, the WW Granger truck. Very impressive today, currently running in 18th spot as he tries his best to get by Andy Houston. Has position on Andy. And he's driving for Jack Roush. Greg Biffle was their winter heat champion in 1996, also this year, 1998. As we go down in turn 2, Stacy Compton trying to follow. And he did follow Biffle as Biffle closes up right on the back bumper of Brett Bodine. That's Brett in the 11 truck.
Yes, those colors are new. Ooh, was that a tap? A little high, how are you? From Biffle on Brett Bodine as he moves by and takes that position. Compton following him has new paint after a press conference yesterday, announcing that RC Cola will be the new sponsor on that truck. Well, now Brett Bodine got right in the middle and spoiled the view of the new sponsor paint shed.
Yes, he did.
View from the Granger truck as Biffle is the only driver making his first start in this race. And that surprised me, Benny, with all those rookies. I figured, surely some of these guys have never driven one. You got to run 5 to give up your rookie status, and Biffle is the one guy in the field who has driven one of these races before.
And there we see the 29 truck of Keselowski going inside the Brett Bodine.
17th, 18th, 19th spot. That's the battle we're watching here.
And Butch Miller closes in on the back bumper of Brett Bodine. This is Butch. We're riding along with the Dana Dodge, part of the Lance Norrick team in 1998.
And this is serious progress for Butch, who had to go through the qualifying race that you saw here yesterday and started in 32nd spot. So for him to be up here in the thick of this battle is significant progress and a lot of laps still to go. 45 are complete. At lap 60, they will check tires on 3 trucks. There was a concern about tire wear. Goodyear brought a hard compound here, And thus the speeds have been off a little bit. They didn't run at record speeds, and the concern was to enjoy good tire life. They think the tires, Goodyear thinks the tires, would be good for 150 laps. Some of the teams are saying, well, we're not quite so sure about that. NASCAR, always concerned about driver safety, says we'll check them at 60. If there's a problem, we'll give you a chance to change them. This is your leader, Bound. He's led it from the drop.
Oh, we got a crash up
in turn 3. Caution flag flies. Is that the 83? Is that Joe Gaeta, I believe, a rookie from Yorktown, Virginia. Lost it and looped it up there. And so one of the 6 rookies in the field brings out the second caution of the day. You hit anything, Benny?
I don't think so. I don't believe.
Get another look here.
And there we see, no, there was no, didn't seem to be any contact with anybody. Joe going in the corner and loops her around. Kevin Harvick, the 75, was able to get by. And Joe kept her off the wall. Good job, Joe. That's his own truck, he was telling me. This is a tough row to hoe, but nah, might have been some contact between he and Harvick in the 75.
Yeah, Kevin might have started. Might have got him a little loose there. Joe Gaeta, the Lamb, and Robinson drywall Ford.
I wouldn't be surprised if we would not see some. And here they come. Here all the trucks come down pit road to get that fuel. Bill Weber.
Well, the leaders are coming down pit road. We're waiting for Mike Skinner. He's got an opening right in front of him. This will be fuel only. Teams will look at the tires and check the spoilers. They bang up the spoiler on the 5 truck. Skinner waits, getting fuel. Now they will make a wedge adjustment on Skinner's Chevy. To Marty in the leaders pit.
Yes, and remember that left rear quarter panel's damaged, and they were worried about the fuel probe being able to get in there. Looks like it's okay. He's topped off and back out.
That eliminates a major concern for Roush Racing. After that early contact with Hornaday, they now know they can effectively refuel the truck. They will be able from here to drive to the break, which will be somewhere around lap 120. The tire check is still to come. Bound is still the leader. We'll be right back. We're back live at Disney World, where we race today in memory of 48-year-old T. Wayne Robinson, who died Wednesday in a boating accident in southern Louisiana. For the past 14 years, Robertson headed the R.J. Reynolds sponsorship program for NASCAR racing.
I have been able to live a charmed life. I've had the opportunity to grow with my company. It's been a great company. I've had an opportunity to work in a business where I feel like I'm working with my family every day.
The NASCAR family this week mourns a man who helped to shape the sport. A man who learned to love racing in Winston-Salem, R.J. Reynolds' hometown. He started at the bottom in the company's fledgling program, did every job there was to do, learned the business, worked all the way to the top. The race driving he did was just for fun. His driving ambition was to build the sport of NASCAR racing. Of the many roles he played, none gave him more pleasure than the rewarding of championships. As Winston's sponsorship program thrived, the checks grew, and so did the smile on the face of the man who passed them out. But the source of his greatest pride is the Winston Preview, benefiting Brenner Children's Hospital. Last Saturday, he again brought the heroes to their fans. To his colleagues, he was the consummate pro, the man who made the program work. Through the garage, he was a friend to everyone from heroes to the humble. First and foremost, he was a devoted husband and father. Much too soon, we bid him farewell. But we do so with fond memories of the role he played in writing the story of NASCAR's success. And so we not only say goodbye, we say thank you. We take a moment now to enjoy what T. Wayne Robertson loved best, the sound of the engines, the thrill. these colorful trucks, all these sponsors, and all these people surrounding this racetrack, they're a tribute to NASCAR in its 50th anniversary, and a tribute to T. Wayne, who had so much to do over the last 14 years with making this sport what it is today. Here's the competition at the head of the field. Chuck Bound has led every lap, but Ron Hornaday clearly has designs on changing that. He trails by about 4 to 5 truck lengths, and Benny, he is closing in.
That lap by, Chuck Bound was just a little bit faster than Ron Hornaday. Let's see if he can stretch it out.
Back in the Napa Field summary, progress of guys further back, but this is the story right here. 2 veterans and 2 great teams running within inches of the wall.
He did get close to that wall, didn't he?
Man.
Right to the bottom of the racetrack goes the Exide Batteries Ford. Chuck Bound comes off the corner, looks in the mirror and sees Ron Hornaday.
29 trucks on the lead lap. These 2 separated by the length of a truck. The view from the Napa Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday. Man.
When you get that close to the wall, folks, they're doing all they can do.
Using all the road, aren't you?
All the road.
So what happened to Sprague? Well, after the break, lost a spot. Now sits back there. Remember when we went to yellow, he was closing in on the leader. A 7-time Super Speedway winner, trying to avenge his loss here a year ago in the Chevy Truck Challenge. Also appears to be using most of the asphalt out there as he tries to run down his old nemesis Hornaday. And Bound, who led this thing from the drop of the ground. Last year's race was riddled with caution, 13 in all. In comparison, this has been a clean event, Benny. We had that excitement on the first lap that didn't actually bring out the yellow. The yellow was actually for the 35 truck of Ron Barfield that had stopped on the racetrack. Other than that, we've had just the single accident involving Joe Gato.
Barry Bodine, the 7 truck, is on pit road with his hood up.
As your battle for 4th and 5th, and it's a good one. Ruttman on the bottom is having a look and wants to find his way around Mike Wallace. Pursued by Mike Bliss, who sits in 6th.
Small opening there. Let's see if Ruttman can force that Ford in there. Nope. Couldn't quite make it.
Boy, that's tight racing right there. Wallace slipping up the hill. Ruttman's going to try to get to the bottom. Marty has more on the 52 truck.
Yeah, guys, I think you can see the problem he's called in. He says the truck is pushing and it's climbing high, and he can't hold anybody back right now. He's trying to make it to the break.
Hanging on, and Ruttman, well, he's hanging on pretty effectively because it's taken Joe a couple of laps to capitalize here.
Caution flag.
This is going to be the mandatory tire check, and it will be for the 99, the 52, and the 86 truck of Stacy Compton. Those are the 3 trucks on which they will check tire wear. And I believe, Benny, that the rest of the trucks will just stay out. They'll check those trucks, and then they'll just drop back into line.
Yes, those 3 trucks will come in. The crews and the Goodyear officials and NASCAR officials will go around. They'll check the tires. And if NASCAR deems that the tires are okay, those trucks will go back in their position. They'll throw the green flag, and we'll race to the halfway point. If NASCAR deems that the tires need to be changed, probably all the trucks will come in, change tires, and go back in the same position they are running currently.
Some radio traffic there, but it appears to have come and gone here at lap 60. They did not bring them in, so they will circulate one more lap. Now, they can't do anything to these trucks, obviously, because the 3 have been pulled out as a representative sampling of the field. The tire, as we said, is a bit harder, a hard compound with a bit more rubber on it than last year. Anyway, this is a very abrasive racetrack, and it creates a lot of tire wear.
Barry Dawson was telling me that there's a lot of sand in his pavement, a lot like Darlington, and we know just how tough that surface at Darlington is on tires, where it just kind of grinds the rubber off the tires like a cheese grater.
Qualifying speed was 125.366, comparing with last year's record of 126.859.
Billy Hodges, the Goodyear rep. Rick Pirelli's crew anxiously watching on.
Safety always a big concern in any form of NASCAR competition. You don't want to take chances, and so the decision made to do this quick tire check at lap 60 gives us an opportunity, Benny, maybe to talk a little bit about your impressions of what you've seen down there as you patrolled this garage area at the start of the new season. I'm struck by the growth. We've said that many times before. As these trucks come down, hey, well, let's go ahead and get a quick observation from Marty on the situation down there on pit road.
Well, the teams were informed literally about the same time you guys were in the booth. And here comes Chuck Bound. Now, Billy Hodges from Goodyear is the only guy who's going to go over the wall. He will check the right side, rear and front. I asked him to give us either a thumbs up or a thumbs down as soon as he gets done with it. He's probably so excited. Yep, thumbs up. It looks like tire well's okay. Billy.
Well, Stacy Compton has his Ford here, his RC Ford, and they're checking the right side tires on his truck as well. He was back in the field, so he arrived here just a few moments ago. They're looking at the right front and the right rear. Now they're going to come around and they're going to look briefly on the left side. That's his crew. Kevin Cram is his crew chief. Got some damage on the right rear corner you heard him talking about.
Look pretty good.
Yeah, they're good. Yep, you just heard it. Stacy asked, tires look good. Crew told him, yeah, they're good.
Whenever they say you can go. Bobby, you need your tire temp.
They're going to go for tire temperatures here as well. Give Goodyear as much information as possible. Remember, if you joined us late, Goodyear said these tires could go 150 laps. Some teams were concerned. It's a mandatory caution here at the Walt Disney World Speedway. The start to the 1998 Craftsman Truck Series. Chuck Bound is your leader. We'll be right back.
You know what you need to do this time of year? Just move to Florida. If you can't do that, a week from Thursday, dial up ESPN, ESPN2. We've got everything that happens at Daytona. We're going to kick it off with practice and qualifying for the Rolex 24. We'll have Winston Cup happy hour as well on ESPN2 over on ESPN. But shootout qualifying, ARCA 200, Goodies Dash 200, Winston Cup qualifying. We're basically going to move into Daytona International Speedway on the 29th of January and be there for the duration of Speed Week 98. More on tires from Marty Reed.
We're down here with Billy Hodges. We got one lap to green. You've talked to everybody that inspected all three trucks. What's the report?
Well, the tire wear looks good. We looked at Chuck Bowen's tires real good, and then a couple guys running on back in the field. Tire wear seems to be excellent. Some of the drivers were concerned about tires being able to go the full 120 laps. We feel very confident they will. Everything looks good.
All right, thanks for the report, Billy. Bill, what you got?
Well, I was going to talk to Kevin Cram, who is Stacy Compton's crew chief. What are you lobbying to get your truck back into position there?
Yeah, going up through the line, I guess the guys thought we were trying to buck a position from him or something, and he ended up tagging the left rear quarter, and it ended up opening up the aerodynamics there.
See what happens when you try and be a nice guy. How are your tires?
My tires are fine. Real good wear. I don't think there'll be a problem at all. Probably to our advantage. Stacy's real good on the long runs and saving his tires, so we're pretty excited. We're running good.
All right, good luck.
Thanks, man.
Okay, new year, new sponsor, and some new excitement for Stacy Compton and company.
Yeah, I would think he doesn't need that little bit of damage, though, getting back what he already had. Royal Crown truck. There you see it. The beginning of this race, the beginning of this season, pretty doggone exciting, Benny. How bad do they want to lead the first lap? Check it out. Bound takes Hornaday on the grass.
On pit road, that's not the racetrack. That's pit road that Hornaday's on now. He'll drive back on the racetrack where Chuck Bound is. But they're all trying, and right now they're running 1-2. Here comes Bound off the corner.
Green flag.
Green is in the air. Seven laps in, we're back where we began. This time a little more conservative run through turn 2 by Bound and Hornaday down into the tricky turn through.
Well, you see all the trucks going by. There's the lead on the left. Chuck Bound on the left, the 99 Exide Ford. Napa Brake Chevrolet running second. That's Ron Hornaday, the 1996 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. Fell in third spot, Jack Sprague, was the 1997 champion. Sprague is still home behind Ron Barfield.
Surprises me. He's not been able to get around that lap truck. Barfield's truck healthy now. The fuel pickup problem that brought out the first caution of the day apparently has been resolved. There's the 50, Joe Ruttman, the defending champion in the race. Moving by Wayne Anderson, the lap truck. He is currently in fourth spot.
Here comes Mike Wallace, fifth place truck, Bureau later. There's a gaggle of cars. Terry Cook, the 88. There's Dave Resendez in 55. Ice House, Tom Floyd truck. And the 19 of Tony Raines, the Pennzoil truck.
Resendez up to 19. Started shotgun on the field. This was an interesting qualifying procedure that's new this year. They have a champions provisional. Who's that in trouble? Is that Raines?
Tony Raines off the pace up in the corner.
Out against the wall. Can't find any place to get back in line. Is the truck healthy? Yeah, I think so.
Looks like he may be okay.
I think so. He was alongside Tammy Kirk there, whose program was rejuvenated last Monday when she found a fellow investor and became co-owner of a new team.
And Hornaday closed up right on the back bumper of Chuck Bound. This is for the lead down in turn one.
Sprague led the vast majority of laps last year. Bound has done the same this year, but not without pressure. Hornaday is keeping the heat on, and for Bound, the margin for error from the looks of that speed shot is about an inch. He is using every bit of the racetrack to keep Hornaday at bay. I thought it was Hornaday. Just about rearranged the paint molecules on the right side of the number 16. I don't think there's much left here, Benny. I think they're running them just about as hard as they can run them, and that speaks to the strategy here. This thing is 200 laps with a break a little past halfway, but clearly these two guys are not afraid to use what they've got out there.
No, they're
not saving a thing.
Yeah. We're going to blow our camera off if we keep going. I don't have our camera's going to last for 200 laps.
Running 121 and change. They qualified at 125.3. So you can see there they didn't give up a whole lot when they went from qualifying to race setup. Now, looky here. Does this bring back any recollections, any memories of a year ago? Joe Ruttman comes up and joins Jack Sprague a year ago. They were racing for first and second at the white flag. Today they race for third and fourth. Sprague definitely has not gotten back to where it was before that yellow period, has he?
No, he hasn't. As a matter of fact, Sprague was 3 seconds behind the leader last time by.
Following the Napa field, somewhere back through the field. Look at Nemechek, 26th to 11th.
We saw Tony Raines a moment ago. I'm told that he did not have a problem. He just got bumped. He got out of line, and that's why he was so slow up in 3 and 4. He was trying to get his truck righted again.
Butch Miller's charge is kind of stalled out, and so has Jimmy Hensley's. Combination of the yellows and the more intense competition as you move closer to the front. Here again, Raines is up against the wall. And not sure I'm buying it, Benny. That's twice that has happened. You got to wonder if there isn't something going south on that pickup.
You see right in front of Tammy Jo Kirk. Let's see if we can. There he is on the outside. Goes in the corner. Oh, he and Brett Bodine make contact, and contact again. Whoa. Pretty heavy contact, as a matter of fact.
Well, apparently nothing wrong with it, other than perhaps the fact that he's just having to run up on top the way the truck is behaving, and he's still in the middle of everything.
That's Rich Bickle in the 78 truck, trying to get by Brett Bodine.
And we need to finish that Bickle story. His team went away at the end of last year. He was hoping to go to Winston Cup. That deal now appears to be suspect. Bickle came down here to drive the backup truck for Dominic Dobson, the MCI Dodge team. Dobson crashed in practice, and so they resubmitted their entry with Bickle as the driver. And the key reason to do that is that Bickle had driver points good for a provisional. So Dominic was okay. He was perfectly healthy, but he says, we need to be in this race. We need to have our sponsor on television put Rich in the truck. And so Bickle drives the 78, and Raines follows him through as they both work their way around Bodine in the black 11. Tony, feeling like a ping pong ball out there, has now settled into a bit more comfortable position. And Tammy Kirk in the 51 will go to work on Bodine's 11. They're chased by Bobby Hamilton, Winston Cup guy. How tough is truck racing? Look at the beating Tony Raines has been taking here. It's happened to him twice in 5 laps. Truck racing is tough business at Walt Disney World. We'll be back with more. We're back on board Morris Sets Federated Auto Parts truck as we take a look at your Napa Field summary. Bound leading Hornaday. Bound has led this race from the drop of the green, but not without excitement. Sprague and Ruttman, last year's last lap combatants, are once again nose to tail in 3rd and 4th, but have been behaving themselves, at least thus far. Mike Wallace sits back on the tail end of that group as we take you all the way back to the tail end of the field. Some have moved spectacularly from their downfield starting positions. Others are just hanging on. Archer has fallen out.
And we see that Hornaday has dropped back a few truck lengths from the leader, Chuck Bound. He's now almost 1 second behind Chuck Bound. And here we come, a battle for the lead. Joe Ruttman alongside Sprague. And
look at that.
Mike Wallace goes with him, puts Sprague back to 5th spot.
They had that long yellow, Benny. That truck didn't come to pit road, that 24. They checked the tires on the 3 trucks. They throw the green again. Not only can he not keep up with the leaders, but he can't keep these 2 guys behind. How does that happen?
I don't know. And we see Mike Bliss. Right now, Mike Bliss is, I think, the 2nd fastest truck on the racetrack. The leader, Chuck Bound, is the fastest. 2nd fastest, Mike Bliss.
They've been fast from the get-go. The Team ASE truck, as you ride on board, thought they had a real good shot at the pole, but qualifying didn't go well. Bliss then jumped in the Silver Crown car yesterday. You saw it over on ESPN2. Gave A.J. Foyt and George Schneider's car a pretty good drive until it went south late in the race. Here you see the telemetry that gives you a read on his RPM and miles per hour. And also the fact that he's using an awful lot of brake. He hangs on that brake a long time. It's an interesting technique. Watch here as he goes into the corner. There you see the brakes on.
As he comes off the corner, he'll take his foot off the brake about there. Sit on the floor.
Look how late. It's about a second late. I get the same feeling. It's time to get off. Is he using that to steady the truck?
He's using the brake to hold the truck on the bottom of the racetrack. If he's got to push, the car will go up the hill. If he uses the brake, he can keep it on the bottom of the racetrack a lot better.
And don't think of it as braking like you're coming to a stop sign where you're pounding on the brake. It's just dragging it a little bit. The driving technique that you learn in oval racing. It is not a matter of just driving down an incline.
And we see that there we see Joe Ruttman, an interval between Ruttman and Bliss started at 2.7 seconds. 5 laps later, it was 1.4 seconds.
That's what happens when you got a fast truck. You go find the guys in front of you, and Bliss has a fast truck at the moment. Likes these kinds of racetracks. Likes to go fast. Visually now, that interval seems to have stabilized a little bit. Here's the gap that a few laps ago we were commenting about, but it was only a truck length and they were using every bit of the road. Hornaday seems to have backed off. Let's go to Weber.
Well, Scott Walter sits along pit road in his red man's truck. Called in, said he had a bad vibration, had no idea where it was coming from, didn't know what it was, decided to bring the truck in. They've checked the tire pressure, they've been underneath the truck, they can't seem to find anything wrong, they continue to look at it. He continues to sit here as the laps go by. The 55 with Dave Resendiz has also pulled the pit road, and his hood is up on his truck.
Boy, that ends a great run. He had come from dead last to run 19th. Scott with 1T. Walters, meanwhile, once the crew chief on that truck, now the driver. Here's Resendiz and the new team owned by Tom Gloy and Bobby Rahal. Gave her a heck of a run today.
He's slowed abruptly on the racetrack, and they're looking like it's an engine problem.
That's frustrating in the opener, Benny, but by the same token, when you can run that fast, know that you can cover an awful lot of the trucks out there, gives you a good feel. I mean, you can make the motors live. Those kind of things are going to happen. So they're going to be optimistic.
Chuck Bound has just kind of said to Ron Hornaday, I think I'll just drive off and leave you in the dust. He's now a little over 2 seconds in front of Hornaday.
We were commenting about their seeming willingness, Benny, to really hang it out and use up the truck. Do you suppose Hornaday maybe changed his mind, realized he couldn't get around it? Or have the trucks changed perhaps?
Oh, no, let's ask Marty Reed. What do you think, Marty?
Well, I'll tell you what the word is from down here. He called in, Chuck did, and said, hey, guys, this truck is perfect. And he has upped the ante. Before the competition yellow there at lap 60 to check tires, he was lapping at 29.9. He's now lapping at 28.4. That's a second and a half quicker when there's no traffic in front of him.
There's your answer. And there's the difference on the racetrack.
And that's only a half second slower than these trucks qualified. Wow.
If you're Ron Hornaday, you can spell that frustration. Yes, you're just driving that thing as hard as you can drive it, and all of a sudden the other guy gets his dander up and disappears.
I would say right now Ron Hornaday is trying to lull this car, this truck, Chuck Bound, into complacency, thinking I've got the best truck. And Hornaday, when they're on the brake, when they get those 4 fresh tires on that restart, he will try his best to blast by the Chuck Bound truck.
There's the 50 of Ruttman, last year's winner. He is pursued by Wallace in 4th and Sprague in 5th, but that pursuit is, I won't say leisurely, but it is certainly not heated at the moment. There's the gap back to Wallace, who's been in the top 5 from the get-go, dropped a couple positions early and seems content to cruise. And Sprague behind him, who had challenged for the lead, and now has dropped back to here. A rather distant and unspectacular 5th for the moment for the man who led it most of the way last year, led 177 laps.
And there's Mike Bliss as he tries to chase down Sprague. You saw Quaker State on Sprague's truck. That's not their sponsor in 1998. The folks at Hendrick Motorsports thought Quaker State was real good to them. In 1997, they would run this sponsorship just out of the goodness of their heart, but they are actively searching for a sponsor as we watch Tony Roper.
Boy, he deserves a call. 7th place out of Fairgrove, Missouri. Started in 6th, holding his own, qualified very, very well, keeping his nose clean, staying out of trouble. And Papa Dean, the former USAC stock car champion, would be proud. There's your 8th place runner, Rick Pirelli. He's come from 17th, so that involves some work to get where he is at the moment.
Mike Skinner is our 9th place truck, the Lumar window film.
And that from 5th, so he's gone the other direction.
And Brian Refner, the 66, the Carlin Burners Ford truck, is in 10th spot, and Joe Nemechek back in 11th spot.
Nemechek, the story, the 26th position. He's come to 11th. He's definitely headed the right direction. Let's go to Bill Weber down trackside.
Well, the beer run is over for the Ice House Ford, but Dave Resendiz, it was a great one. What happened?
I don't know. You know, the truck, I could run real hard and get a little bit loose, but I mean, it seemed to be pretty good. The motor just started vibrating. We didn't lose oil pressure or anything. They say we got a hole in the bell housing, so that's not really a good sign. Maybe the part of the clutch come apart. I'm not sure, but the Ice House Ford was running pretty good. And you know, we were looking to adjust on it there after 120 laps, and I think we would have been possibly a top 10 truck. But you know, oh well, the guys worked hard, and we were moving to the front, but not to be.
Okay, he started dead last, ran into the top 20, but is running it too early.
And yes, he is, from Massachusetts. Bobby Hamilton has also dropped out, we're told. The truck has gone behind the wall. Chuck Bound continues to lead up front. It has been a Jack Roush Racing Team field day as the Exide Ford has led every lap. He comes up to put another lap on Terry Cook and continues the charge toward the midway point. We are 100 laps into this 200 lap race. Be right back. This is the signature piece of Disney World, Cinderella Castle. The cake will change colors at the end of this month, wrapping up their 25th anniversary celebration down here in the land of magic. And simultaneously, we're all going to move over to Daytona and get very serious about celebrating the 50th anniversary of NASCAR. Born on the beach in 1948, we're going back for a couple of weeks of excitement that will culminate with the 500. The 50, of course, is NASCAR's 50-year celebration, and our coverage continues next Friday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. We've got trouble on the racetrack. Lonnie Rush, who's had a great weekend, has seen it go bad in turn 1.
Yes, and we see moisture up in front of the car, so that means the radiator is broken. Heavy damage to the Chevrolet truck. Tough break.
He had a great qualifying effort, had run into some problems and had backed a lap down, had run up front in the early going.
Let's see if we can see what happens. Lonnie goes in the corner and just around it goes, and bam, watch this thing back in the fence. Wow, violent hit.
Hurts to watch.
One more angle, and we can see once again, it's not going to be any easier. No.
So if you're running around in second spot, you don't want to see this sort of thing transpiring in front of you.
Wow. Hopefully he'll keep it up there and the car doesn't shoot across the racetrack too quickly that he runs right in front of Hornaday. Bill Weber, who you got?
Well, Bobby Hamilton has a new Winston Cup ride, the Kodak Chevrolet, but you're going to do a couple of truck races. This one didn't end quite the way you wanted. What happened to your 40 rig?
I think transmission come out of it. Started vibrating real bad, and I slowed down a little bit, and then I started smelling rear-end grease or transmission grease. It's probably the transmission, the way the shifter feels, but we unloaded real good here, but we never could get a handle on it right about qualifying time, and we were just sort of riding around, and somebody come up and said, "You going to go out again?" I said, "We ain't going to get in these guys' way because they're running for points and stuff like that," but guys worked hard on it. Southern Pride Trucking is going to be with me on the rest of 5 races, and Dana Corporation. We're away from here, and I'm ready to go get my little Kodak Monte Carlo and go to Daytona.
And we were talking about that. That's a fun little thing to sit in there, isn't it?
It's different. It lets you know that you got something to hold on to and at Daytona and Talladega. Looking forward to the whole deal. You know, we had a good short track test. The guys worked real well together. All of us did it. Japan had a blast over there. We leave here, go home, spend the night, and go to Rockingham Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday and see how we do on our open stuff.
Okay, we'll see you at Daytona.
Thank you, bud.
That's Bobby Hamilton. He's out. Barry Bodine also pushed behind the wall.
Big crowd on hand at Walt Disney World Speedway, and they are happy to be enjoying the Florida sunshine. Like Hamilton, we're excited about getting to Daytona and getting on 98. Lonnie Rush has come to a bad end after a good weekend, but hey, he's got 26 more shots at him in the 1998 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It kicks off here today. The run for the championship is on. We'll be right back. We're back. Lake Buena Vista, Florida is actually the home of Walt Disney World Speedway. We're just inside the gates of the Magic Kingdom. If you've been down here before, you know the general lay of the land. This is, in fact, a parking lot most of the year, but race week, they build all these bleachers, put all these people in here, and enjoy an exciting competition celebration. But not all the competition is on the racetrack. We mentioned those golf courses. Yeah, there are 6 of them in the area, and one just north of here where the Health South inaugural is going to be playing the final round later today. The Women's Golf Tour will be here on ESPN immediately following the event. So we invite you to stay tuned for that. There's Epcot Center, which you can see from here, just out across turn 2. It is a fascinating place to spend a couple of days, but the focus for the drivers, the money, and the points. We've started the payoff of some $6 million with the Gatorade Halfway Challenge going to Chuck Bound. The Napa Field summary shows Bound out front where he has been from the beginning. The points, of course, are valuable toward that 27-race run for the championship. And Danny, we started to ask you earlier about the mood in the pits. I talked to a lot of people down there who think they're contenders for that title this year.
Well, I think that all of them think they're contenders. There's Greg Biffle, a rookie. This is a 3rd Jack Roush team in 1998, and Roush is not doing too bad right now. He's running 1st, 3rd, and 12th.
Look at the tail end of the field. Wonderful thing about opening day. Everybody's got fresh paint, new uniforms, high hopes. Everybody's even in terms of championship standings. Everybody's ready to kick off the campaign. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back with more. The Chevy Truck Challenge is about to go back to green after cleanup for the Lonnie Rush incident. Up in turn number 1 will be completing lap 110 when they take Chris Morgan's green flag. We anticipate the mid-race break at 120 or thereabouts, so they probably won't be racing long. Let's see if we can get some progress out of Hornaday in his efforts to do something with Chuck Bound. Will he try to drive by here on lap 111? Safely down the backstretch. No major shuffles of positions. Lap truck of Kerry Cook moving out of the way and giving everybody room to race. Bound remains stout. Hornaday has been as far as
Oh, we got a spin over
here. Yeah, he's around. Jimmy Hensley. Group flap up. Truck slides to a stop. Almost out of our view over there on the back stretch. Jimmy shoves her in gear.
No caution flag. No caution flag. And he's about to get lapped.
Big time.
Big time. Here comes the lead trucks.
He's got her going. He'll be out of the way. Back up to it. Now we'll see what happened here with Hensley. Tail end of the field.
Right at the very back. Yeah, he just gets bumped. Was that?
And it looked, Harvick got into the back of him, but it looked like something may have happened in front of him there as Hensley was all the way at the tail end of that restart field with only Harvick behind him. The veteran from Virginia and the youngster from California get tangled up. That caution flag was for Lonnie Rush, who has joined our Bill Weber as Bound continues to pull away here.
Smiling on the outside, but angry on the inside. What happened?
Well, the A&G Cole Chevrolet's been running awesome all weekend, Bill. And we thought we had a good truck for the whole day. And we started developing a brake problem part of the way through the race. I had to change my line a little bit. And maybe that's what got us into trouble with somebody else. We're not going to say. It's just part of this business. None of us like to accept, but it's part of it. And we have to deal with it and come back next time and do a little bit better.
Disappointing into a great start.
Yeah, we have a good year started, and hopefully we'll keep it going.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Lonnie will be interested in the replay of his moment there when he sees it. Meanwhile, we're interested in the replay of what happened here at the previous incident.
There we see Hensley, the red truck, right in front of Tony Raines. And there we see it was Andy Houston that got out of shape. Yeah. And there's the Butch Miller vehicle as the yellow flag waves, and there we see Houston. The other car started checking up, and I guess someone ran in the back of Jimmy Hensley is what caused him to spin.
See, Hensley's behind all that. There he goes. Hensley sees it. He checks up. Harvick can't see it. Harvick gets in the back of Hensley. Around goes Hensley. And Houston, who actually started it all, just keeps on trucking.
So at least Jimmy Hensley is able to stay in the lead lap as Chris Morgan waves the yellow flag, signifying the halfway break. Now the trucks will come in. They'll be able to work on them for about 5 minutes and make any changes they'd like to, and also 4 fresh tires.
Well, they didn't go quite to 120, so apparently they are confident that in the laps that remain, all the trucks will be able to make it on fuel. That was the goal. The race is typically separated at about halfway. NASCAR is not married to the magic number of exactly 50% of the laps because they want to be able to fudge it one way or the other if they get a caution close to halfway. But in this case, it was manipulated for purposes of fuel, so the race does not turn out to be a fuel mileage derby. We'll be back with a break after this. We're back, big crowd. Now ready to enjoy the excitement on pit road as these crews have their moment in the spotlight, their opportunity to service the trucks. Let's get down there and cover it, beginning with Marty.
We're here with the leader, Chuck Bound. He is not making any real changes. They're going to put a little more tape, trying to help the aerodynamics up front. Some of that gotten blown away in the beginning of the race. But as far as changes, they are pretty much going with the same setup. The first indication he gave that the truck was less than perfect was with about 10 laps to go before the break here, when he said it was starting to get a little bit loose. Let's move over to Ron Hornaday now, because Hornaday's team, they're going to make a track bar adjustment, and they're also going to be taping up the front end a little more. And I'm going to see if we can squeeze in here, guys, to see if we can talk to him, to find out how he's doing physically. Remember, we found out just before we went on the air. Ronnie, we heard you had the flu. How is it going out there, and are you feeling the effects?
Not too bad. I mean, the way Fred Graves and all this Napa Chevrolet team just worked so hard to get the thing running right, it's just pretty easy to drive. I got into the 99 on that start. He kept running me down, and it bent the fender in, so it made the thing push. And it just, I couldn't turn it, so I wore the front tire off. So make a couple changes here and put new Goodyears on there. We'll be all right.
You got anything left for him?
I think so. I mean, I think we got a pretty good truck, but just, you know, the first half when I got into him, it bent that fender in there and it already tore the tire off, so we had no aerodynamics in the front. Front will pull that fender back out of this Napa Chevrolet, and we'll see what we can do.
Physically, though, you're okay?
I don't know, maybe I can go to bed for a while or something. It's a little tiring, but we'll be all right. We only got 40 to go or 60 to go, whatever it is, but we'll be all right.
Let's go down to Bill.
Well, they've taken the right side tires off the LCI Ford of Joe Ruttman, who won this race 1 year ago and comes in off the win at Las Vegas. They've added some tape to the front end. He's here talking to truck owner Jack Roush and some guys on his crew. We'll lean in and get the word from Joe Ruttman. How's your truck?
Well, we're close, but not we're not there, so we need to... Fortunately, I don't have to make a long-distance call with LCI to talk to Jack. He's here today. But the old Ford truck's run pretty good. I'm not sure what we got to do to it. Jack has come up with a couple ideas, and I'd say what it was, but he'd fire me, so I can't tell you.
Well, your teammate in that 99 truck's pretty quick.
I'm not sure he'll, separate with any good information, but maybe we can get Jack to squeeze some good info out of him anyway.
And what's that say on your left-hand glove there, Joe? What's that say, left?
That's left. Every once in a while, when you get this age, you have a little bit of problem identifying, which is which. And I've been doing a lot better when this, they say a left turn coming, right turn coming, and then I...
Well, it's a left turn into victory lane, so good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Joe Ruttman. He's currently running third. We're going to dodge the fuel man here and see if we can't work our way back to the truck of Mike Wallace. Mike having a good run here in his Purelator Chevy, currently fourth on the racetrack, driving for Ken Schrader, and he's sitting here, and I'll interrupt his thought process. Mike, good run for you.
Yeah, everything's going well with the Purelator Pure 1 truck, and, we were just cautious in the first half. We didn't know what the tire wear situation was going to be. Right where we started the race fourth, now we can go race the second half. We know what the tire wear is going to do. I'd like to thank Biaggi Brothers, a new sponsor of ours, along with Penda and the Purelator folks, and all our Schrader Racing. We started here to try to win a championship by the end of the year.
And Ken Schrader said on yesterday in a press conference, that's exactly what they want to do. They want to take Mike Wallace to a championship, then send him to a cup ride, and we'll send you to Marty Reed.
And we're up here with Jack Sprague, Dennis Conner, and the guys that just finished up their work. Take a look at that right front shock. They changed that. They need to get some more bite in this car. It's tight in, loose coming off. And to help it, he also took a full turn, a wedge out of the right rear. So that's the update on Jack Sprague. Back to you guys.
That's a big change, and it also explains what the problem seemed to be with Sprague, as he was unable to keep up after that long yellow. Well, we'd heard that Timmy Cahuth kind of reined in Wallace there early in the race to conserve tires. Mike confirms it there on the mid-race break. It'll be a very interesting second half with this big crowd gathered here at Walt Disney World Speedway. Take a look at the way they're running as we take a commercial break with 116 laps in the book and the truck stop. Be right back. One of the things I like about Disney World is it's easy to get around. Jump on the monorail. You can go any place in the park, including Journey to the Imagination in the background there. Or you can even come over here to the racetrack where these folks are gathered for the excitement of the Chevy Trucks Challenge. Here's your Napa field summary with Bound and Hornaday, right where they started this race. Ruttman having moved up from 15th spot. Biggest charge to the race is the guy in 15th. Remember him yesterday in the last chance qualifier, Butch Miller, from 32nd to 15th. That's a pretty good run, Benny.
It's a great run. Jim Sauter moved up to 14th from 29th. Years 16 through 30. Boris said is still sitting on pit road, so he's got a lot of changes on that Federated Auto Parts Ford.
Randy Tolsma was our analyst yesterday. He's at the blue as well, as long as he's got 4 or 5 spots.
And there we see the entire 36 trucks that started today's Chevy Challenge truck race.
5 times in the history of this division, races have been won wire to wire. It happened once in '97. We were there as Ron Hornaday went 200 laps in the lead at Bristol. Quick updates from the pits as we get ready to go back to green.
And I'm with Barry Dodson, crew chief for Mike Bliss. 6th at the break. How's your truck?
It's pretty good. It was starting to run out of tires. It was getting loose in and tied off, and that's just an indication you're out of rubber. I think the plus side of that is that the tires looked excellent at the half, and I told them let's go racing. We made a slight adjustment to help it get in the corner a little better. We'll see what happens. Problem is those other guys are running good too.
All right, let's go to Marty Reed for more on Ron Hornaday.
I'll tell you guys, I think Ron Hornaday's feeling a lot worse than he let on to us. Remember when we were interviewing him, he mentioned 60, 40 laps. He wasn't sure, and we got 80 laps to go at least, and it's going to be a long road to hoe for him. We're going to find out if he's got the physical stamina.
Marty, that's just Fred Graves being smart. That's using your head. Ron, you've only got 40 laps to go, or is it 60 laps to go? You can do it, man. You can do it.
That sounds like somebody who's been there and done that.
Exactly.
We're getting ready to restart. Bound working in the tires. Hornaday behind him. Hensley, victim of that moment just before the break, is down on the inside as one of the lap trucks now with Terry Cook. Well, Bound's been good from the get-go. Jack Roush has tried to work a little of his own magic over that truck to try to sustain it for the remainder. The green is in the air, and here we go. Look at the people.
Here's where Ron Hornaday is going to give it all he's got to get in the lead. Watch this. As he comes off the corner, he'll try to drive to the inside. He's going to give it a shot.
That's why we call him the expert analyst, ladies and gentlemen.
And here comes Rutman trying to get on the inside of his teammate. And there's Mike Wallace on the outside of Joe Rutman. Wow.
Terrific racing up front. The first lead change of the day. Hornaday, strong move to the inside of Bound to take the spot. Now Rutman trying to find a way around Wallace to get up and join that fray. That was impressive by Hornaday, and not so impressive for the 99. The truck didn't look all that good. Wallace is starting to harass him for second spot.
Right now, and he's going to lose second spot as Mike Wallace goes by. Chuck Bound's truck right now looks to be too tight.
Rutman's going to go by him with ease. He dominated for nearly 120 laps, but now Chuck Bound is struggling. We've got trouble on the racetrack. Boy, those yellows are great when they help you, but not so great when they don't. This is Sandy Houston in the wall, the Hickory, North Carolina rookie whose dad, Tommy, was a legend in short track racing.
And the yellow flag once again, Chris Morgan, as Andy Houston drives on pit road. And we see the damage to the left side of the truck. The left front tire is flat. Let's watch the replay and so we can see what happened. There's Andy as he goes in the corner. He's trying to avoid running in the back of the other truck, and as he does that, he has to hit the brakes too hard, and bam, in the wall.
He was 22nd at the time, and that's decent for a guy who doesn't have a lot of time in the trucks. That's a good team. Yeah, there he goes.
I guess that looked like maybe Tony Raines was the truck he was trying to avoid hitting as he had to touch the brakes a little bit too firm.
Tommy's working on the crew. All the brothers are there. It's a real family operation, sponsored by the coal miners from Kentucky, the Addington Racing Team. We'll be right back. Butch Miller's excellent run has been interrupted by a pit stop. We'll tell you that the ESPN Winter X Games are going to be coming your way tonight from Crested Butte, Colorado. You see that right there on your screen. We put the X in extreme sports this year. The best extreme athletes in the world are taking part. A variety of cold weather disciplines. Lots of gold to be given away. Tonight's report at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on the big network. Butch Miller had charged through this field and put himself inside the top 15, but now has had to make a couple of visits to pit road.
They'd have a lot of trouble with the Winter X Games here in Disney World, wouldn't they?
Kind of a transportation theme here, Benny. We had the monorail a moment ago. Here's the steamboat that runs past Tom Sawyer's Island in the Magic Kingdom. A lot of things here to do and see. The transportation that interests me most at the moment involves trucks at well over 140 miles an hour. Let's go down trackside to Marty.
Well, first off, an update on Andy Houston. They've got damage on the left front. You can see that they're working feverishly on it. Also, the update on Chuck Bound. The reason he's falling back, they took some air pressure out, and the truck is set up for the long run. They need to get more tire temperature, and the worst thing they needed right now was this yellow to come out. Bill?
Brett Bodine came here to race a truck, and you did for a little while. What happened?
We lost something in the motor. It'd been going a little sour, and worse when the race started. Like valve springs or something went away on it. The thing had really good power qualifying, and, you know, when we started fading back through the field, I knew something was wrong with it because we were much better than that. You know, had a lot of fun, and just thank Phil Bonifield for having me in it. But I'd like to send my prayers and best wishes out to everybody in the Robinson family. You know, we're going to miss T. Wayne an awful lot. He was a great friend and a tremendous ambassador for our sport.
And that speaks for all of us.
Getting ready to go green here with Ron Hornaday up front. 71st NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race that he has now led 42 of those races. That's a pretty remarkable statistic. You talk about a guy who runs up front. 42 out of 71 he's led. He leads this one because of as much because of the difficulty for Bound as his own aggressive driving. Let's see what happens after we go back green. Is his challenger as they move down the backstretch, and he is right there and in position. Ruttman lurking a couple of trucks back. Hornaday strong into 3.
Crowd is on their feet watching these trucks drive down the... Oh, and Hornaday gets loose, and Mike Wallace will go to the front.
Wow. Here comes Ruttman. Had a notion to try to split him. It ain't over till it's over. Hornaday's trying to battle back on the outside. Wallace grabs the lead. Ruttman now works on Hornaday. Can't get there. Hornaday regrouping quickly. Huge slip for Hornaday. Now Bound comes up and almost touches Ruttman. I don't know, did he touch him?
I don't think so, but he's awfully close.
Sprague comes to life a little bit as he sees possible vulnerability in Bound. Let's see what happened here.
Watch it go in the corner. Watch Ron Hornaday as all of a sudden the truck just slips, and Mike Wallace drives to the inside, takes the spot away.
Pretty good save for Hornaday. That thing could have turned around on him very easily. Radio traffic indicates a concern about the tires for Hornaday. He thinks he might have one going down. I don't see anybody running in on the outside of it to try to take advantage of it, for sure. Bound, looking for tire temperature, continues to struggle back there. Here comes Sprague. Gives him a nudge to move him out of the way. Now Bliss gets into the side of him. Woo!
Man, oh man. And Chuck Bound went to the inside of the racetrack to try to save that thing.
Chuck did a handful of driving right there to hang on to one position. Bliss was alongside and into the side of him, and Bound was able to hold him off with a truck that is misbehaving a little bit. Oh, Roper's into the concrete.
Yeah, I saw the truck smoke as he came off the first corner. And we see some damage to the rear deck.
No caution.
Of that truck, the tailgate.
Four-truck battle right here. Sprague, Bound, having at it big time. Bliss, maybe a truck length back. Then Pirelli. Haven't talked much about Rick today, but he's up in the 7th spot here and a player in the game.
And trying to take over 6 as he closes in right on the back tailgate of Bliss.
This quartet losing ground to the trio up front. challenge for the lead. Hornaday back on the inside of Wallace.
But Ron Hornaday back in front. Here comes Joe Ruttman.
Hornaday apparently regained confidence in the truck, though it slips wide a little bit off the corner there. He tested it for a few laps to make sure the tires were beneath him and then retaliated and retook the lead.
Mike Wallace drifts up the hill, gives Joe Ruttman a little room.
He's still having trouble keeping that thing on the bottom, but Ruttman was not able to take advantage of it that time. He'll try again. Almost into the grass. Ruttman moves Wallace out of the way. He's into second. Good competition at the head of the field. Hornaday leads it, running nearly 120 miles an hour. Ruttman clearly having no trouble discriminating between left and right. Also understands the difference between third and second, and has just capitalized on that difference. And I guarantee you, we saw here a year ago, he knows the difference between second and first as well. Although you have to wonder if he's going to make his move now or wait until a little closer to the end.
Saw the trucks go by. We saw Tony Roper going down pit road towards the pits. He had made a pit stop a couple of laps ago, changed a right front tire, but he's now back on pit road.
Ruttman from 15. 4 truck lengths short of the lead.
Make that 1 truck length short of the lead.
Shrunk that right up, didn't he? Take you back to the Napa Field summary, show you how the rest of the guys are running. Bound from 1st to 5th in a hurry. It happened at the mid-race break. Apparently took a little air pressure out, and it has cost them. Several of your Chargers have since begun to fade. Sauter, now I believe, is the best in terms of forward progress through the field. Keselowski struggling with fuel. So too Bickle and Miller and the Dodges. These trucks are all a lap or more downfield.
And we widen the picture out. We see here comes Jack Sprague and Chuck Bound getting closer and closer. That time by both Bound and Sprague were faster than the leader.
Bound needed tire temperature. Does he perhaps have what he needed now as he goes after Jack Sprague? Had a notion the last lap, couldn't pull it off. The two of them together and with Bliss in company are headed for the lead. And look who's got that lead. Ruttman grabs it as they work off turn 3. And now Wallace will make his attack on Hornaday. And just like that, the 96 champion of the Truck Series goes from 1st to 3rd. And look at Ruttman drive away.
Hornaday's trying to come back on the inside. He's got position on Mike Wallace. And Sprague and Chuck Bound, they're there.
Look who's here. What an amazing shuffle of both positions and intervals in the span of a lap. Man, I question whether Ruttman will take his move now. I think we have a rather definitive answer. This freight train is chasing the leader, and from some distance, as we take this commercial break. We're back, and you haven't missed a thing. Those pursuing the leader have elected to get in line and see if they can do something about running him down. And, Benny, it seems to be working. That interval has shrunk by a little bit, but I'll tell you what, this is a very good truck right here.
It's a very good truck, and look at these. They put a few car lengths on Chuck Bound. You know, we keep thinking that as soon as that air pressure builds in that Excite 40, he will march towards the front. But right now, the front is marching from him.
You got to wonder if it isn't going to take more than a little build-up in the tires to get Bound back to the kind of position that he had early in the race. He dominated all the way to the mid-race break. Let's get more from trackside and Bill Weber.
Well, Joe Ruttman's Ford is very, very good, and I asked crew chief Matt Chambers, what'd you do, feed him at the halfway break? He goes, yeah, we gave him some food, and he took off. They also taped up the front, and they loosened up that truck just a little bit. He says it handles much better now, and that might be the difference. Maybe Joe Ruttman can go back-to-back here at Disney World.
He is the oldest driver in the series, and he comes in on a roll. He won the last 2 races of last year, and right now, looks like he's odds on to do the same in the first race of 1998. And a fair bit of scrambling at the front of this field. And I kind of sense that it may not be over yet. Hornaday's Cup. Wallace has been a contender all the way. And I'm not sure we've seen the best of Jack Sprague yet either.
Rick Crawford, the Circle Bar Ford, goes slow down the front stretch on the apron of pit road. On the apron of the racetrack like he's going towards the pits. Good run going.
Last year's Cintas Rookie of the Year runner-up was 20th on the racetrack when he ran into that trouble. There's Rick.
Appears, I mean, he's coasting like it's an engine problem.
Out of power. Well, what do you do in a situation like this if you want to go catch Joe Ruttman? These guys haven't figured it out yet.
And right now, Joe Ruttman.
Hornaday dirt tracking it off the corner. Wow.
Joe Ruttman 1 mile per hour faster the last lap. Let's see this time. And Joe Ruttman was slow that time. He evidently slipped someplace. He was a couple of miles an hour slower than the other cars. When I say other cars, I'm talking about these three you're seeing of Wallace, Sprague, Chuck Bound. Yellow flag is out. There's a slow car.
Is this for Crawford? Did he not make it around, maybe? I don't see anybody else with any problem. Push truck is moving. Yeah, that's it. Crawford is not going to make it back to the pits. That will bring the caution at 146 of 200. Drops an opportunity for these other guys to do something with Ruttman. Continuing our transportation theme, this would be your Thunder Mountain Railroad. More fun in the Magic Kingdom. These folks came to the Magic Kingdom to have fun at the NASCAR Craftsman truck races. The best races are the ones that say ESPN or ESPN2 out by the right. We're going to Phoenix for round 3. Note the big gap, though. They run here in January, don't run again until Homestead April 4th. And that's pretty significant because people are willing to take some chances here this weekend. All the networks are represented. All the races are on television. That's part of the key to the success of this series, part of the reason that they're up to $6 million in total prize money to be paid out this year. It really is a remarkable marketing as well as motorsports activity that NASCAR has put together here, entering its 4th season. So pick your favorite race and plan to be on hand. Watch it always on TV. We talk about dollars. Sprague, $880,000 last year. Look at the growth. Skinner won half that in the inaugural season. And the reason? Hey, it's all those folks standing on their feet there in the grandstand watching the trucks go by. We'll take a break and be right back. The Chevy Truck Challenge is live from Florida, and truck number 50 right now is the class of the field. With 50 laps to go, that would be Joe Ruttman, helping to celebrate, you guessed it, the 50th anniversary of NASCAR. Kicking it off here with the Touring Series visiting Walt Disney World Speedway. Got a good run for Ruttman. Tops on the mile tracks last year. Quick report from Bill Weber.
Ruttman may be having a radio problem. It's been intermittent. They think it's just a loose connection. When they finally did get a chance to talk to him during this caution, he's afraid they may have over-adjusted on his truck a little bit. Remember, they loosened it up during that halfway break, or that break just before lap 120. Well, they're a little concerned they might have gone a little bit too far. As the green comes back out, we go back to racing, Dave.
Not the first time we've heard about loose connections in conjunction with Ruttman. What a character.
Once again, this is the time that Ron Hornaday usually shines on these restarts.
Got the heat on him as they come down to 3. This is where we saw all the action early on. Drives by, makes the pass. Hornaday loves restarts. Ruttman the second. Wallace try to take advantage too.
They do get close, and here it comes. Chuck Bound almost makes contact, and the Sprague, and he's about to lose a spot to Bliss. As Bliss goes by both those trucks.
They went 3 wide. It all started with the nudge that sent Bound up the hill, and Sprague even wider. Bliss saw the opportunity and says, I'll just go between them. Bound apparently continuing to battle the handling problem that has plagued him since the midway break. It's not a bad truck. It's just not the great truck that it was early on, and he's having to drive it a whole lot harder to hang on to what he's got. people were predicting that Bliss was going to be the dominant driver here this weekend. Hasn't happened.
Here's the top three. The 16, Ron Hornaday. The 50, Joe Ruttman. The 52, Mike Wallace.
Continues up front. We've got another near miss for Tony Raines. He got together with Jay Sauter, who coincidentally was one of the top 5 drivers on the mile tracks last year, but is having trouble here today. He and Tony Raines got together. Raines almost hit the wall.
Mike Wallace going for second spot. Ruttman slip going off that first, second corner, and Mike Wallace goes to second.
We didn't have a lead change in the first half of the race, but look what has happened in the second half. Since the adjustment period, we've seen a lot of changes. Bound, dominant in the first half, has slipped to 6th. Ruttman, who looked like Jack the Bear in the first part of the second half, is now struggling with what is an apparent over-adjustment on the number 2. Ruttman slipped to 3rd. Wallace has been sitting there in the middle of this from the get-go. You reckon he's ready to win one of these things?
It looks like he is. He's closing in right on the back bumper of Hornaday. And we heard Bill Weber tell us that Joe Ruttman, he feels like he's a little too loose to race with these other trucks.
There's no more help in sight as you take a look at the Napa field somewhere. Oh, trouble for Bound. He slaps the wall coming off turn 1. The man who had dominated this race early on. And the Chevy fans cheer and the Ford fans moan. The Jack Roush Racing entry that started from the pole and looked so good early has come to this.
And we see the right front tire is flat as he tries to catch up the field. And oh man, tough break for Chuck Bound.
See any dents in the tailgate? Pretty typical of this kind of competition.
Let's see as he's going the corner. And there's a little bump from Jack Sprague that gets Chuck sideways. When he tries to save it, he goes up. He's going to just slam the wall with the rear, then the front's going to go into it.
He wrecked for a long time there, didn't he? Fought it and fought it and fought it and finally ran out of road. He'll be unhappy.
Yeah, we're down here waiting for him, and they're pitted right next to Jack Sprague, and they're not real happy about this. And he's also reporting now that the brakes are starting to fade a little bit also. So they'll definitely go to work on that right front, see what the damage they can repair, get the tire out. And unfortunately, what started out as a great day for Chuck Bound and this Jack Roush Racing XI team is going south.
I'm sure that he's broken the brake rotor. Normally, when the right front tire hits the wall like that, they break the rotor, so therefore lose brakes in the front.
156 laps are in the book, and they're being given the indication 1 lap to green. It wasn't much of a hit from Jack Sprague, just a little touch, just a little nudge, but it got Bound sideways. He counter-steered and fought it and battled it and looked like he might have it saved, but was just a little bit off trajectory, caught the wall, couldn't save it. And so Bound falls into the ranks of those who will not win the race today. We'll take a break and be back with more. After a 4-lap caution, we've gone back green on 159, and Hornaday, in typical fashion, has gotten a very good jump on Mike Wallace, who in turn drove right away from Joe Ruttman, who continues to be very much a question mark here. That truck just stormed into the lead after the midway break, opened up a huge advantage. Then we had caution number 7, and after that he wasn't quite so good, and now, well, he's struggling just to hang on. Here's the gap back to Ruttman's truck. Bliss is now 4th. Sprague is 5th. Sprague nudged Chuck Bound and bringing out the 8th caution of the day. There were 13 last year by comparison. We're at 161 of 200 laps. Ruttman's truck very much a question mark right now.
He's struggling. He's just struggling to keep up right now. I tell you, Mike Wallace isn't struggling. He is closed up wide on the back bumper. Ron Hornaday.
Good driver, good team. Kenny Schrader's truck, 75th anniversary. It'd be a great time for him to win one of these things. Meanwhile, Hornaday, who's kind of been up and down the ladder today, both mechanically and in terms of his physical condition. Let's get the latest from Marty.
Well, the report down here is right before the last couple of yellows, he was starting to get loose the longer the run went, and now the problem is recurring quicker. He's already called in the team saying the truck, the 16, is getting loose, going through the corners, and it looks like he's got a handful.
But you know what? If you stuck a microphone in his face right now, he'd tell you this Napa Chevrolet is perfect. It's a great truck. Of course, they'd also trained to tell you that.
Looks like Rudman is starting to come back just a little bit. He's gained about a third of a second. Bill Weber, what do you think?
Very good on the long runs, Benny. They want this thing to stay green. They think Joe can get back to the front. The one thing they don't want, any more restarts. That is not Joe Ruttman's strongest suit, as we've seen twice in the recent laps. So a long green flag run here. Now the 86 down the front stretch starting to blow up. That'd be Stacy Compton.
Got smoke coming out the back of the 86. Ruttman, of course, pursued by Bliss here, who's been not a huge story thus far. Wallace keeping that pressure on Hornaday. There's Stacy's new paint job with the smoke out the back. Royals Crown on board for 27 races this year. The announcement came yesterday. The driver with a reorganized team. Got a new crew chief and high hopes for 1998. Apparently no oil. NASCAR observers have not called for yellow, so the battle goes on. That's good news for Ruttman.
And we can see that Joe Ruttman is getting just a little closer. He started out about a second and a half behind. He's now down to 9/10 of a second behind the leader. Passing Tony Roper in that one corner might have hurt him a little bit. It did. He lost about 15 hundredths to the leaders that time. Oh, Hornaday! Wow! Is he loose or what?
Didn't even lose the lead.
Wow.
This guy can drive.
Well, Mike Wallace was trying to dodge the wreck. He wasn't worried about taking the lead. He was trying to dodge the wreck.
Trying to stay alive. He says, I'm going to wait a half a lap and then worry about getting the lead.
Now here comes Ruttman on the inside.
On the outside of Hornaday, but that's where Wallace took the spot. Here they come charging by. Ruttman to second, Bliss to third, and now Sprague all over Hornaday, who was completely sideways. You talk about driving out of a slide. You see guys at a 15-degree angle, and they say, oh, yeah, I was completely sideways. This is sideways.
Now, that is sideways. He spun out. How he saved it, I don't know. And like I said, Mike Wallace is trying to dodge the wreck.
Hornaday, the proverbial great piece of driving, but that is now the fourth-place truck. And Mike Wallace finally gets to the top of the ladder. He's been up and down the rungs today. He's finally up on top. Strategically speaking, they reined him in the first half. Timmy Cahoot said, we're using more tire than we need to. Let's save ourselves for late in the race. Back off. Made the adjustments that they liked at halfway and said, okay, man, go get him. And he is.
You see, Greg Biffle worked his way up to 9th spot in the W.W. Granger truck. Again, the Jack Roush truck.
Long way from winter heat.
A long way from winter heat.
He was the champion in that division last year. Now he's the best rookie in the field at 9th. Wayne Anderson, who inherited last year's Rookie of the Year. Kenny Irwin's ride is now 20th. Gata spun, but is still 25th. Walters had mechanical trouble, but is inside the top 30. You don't have to win it to be successful. If you're a rookie, and there are 6 of them in the field, it's a thrill just to make the show with 24 trucks going home. A top 10 finish would be a huge accomplishment.
Joe Ruttman about a half second behind, but him put just a little distance on Mike Bliss. He cannot close in on Mike Wallace.
I'm not sure by Ruttman's count what constitutes a long run, but we got 29 to go. If it stays green to the end, we're going to have a heck of a finish. Stay with us. As we go for a high-speed ride in Rich Bickle's MCI Dodge, Roger Quibel and Judy Rankin are standing by just north of here at the Grand Cypress Golf Course, awaiting our continuing coverage of the Health South inaugural. Kelly Robbins leads at 6 under at the 11th hole, and Benny Parsons facing a difficult decision. Do I go back to the hotel and watch the women, or do I go out and get it around myself this afternoon in this beautiful Sunday weather? Our leaders continue to struggle here. trying to find the combination that'll get him to victory lane. The guy who seems to be winning that struggle, at least for the moment, and this is with 24 to go. And black, not the usual blue and white, but black paint job on Mike Wallace. And for more on his story, let's go to Bill.
Well, to talk about today, let's start with yesterday, a Silver Crown race here where the leader ran out of gas as he took the white flag. They have warned Mike Wallace, save as much fuel as you possibly can. I asked crew chief Tim Cahoot, can you make it to the end on fuel? He said, I can't tell you because I don't know.
Wow. Let's see. Fuel mileage. Best in the fuel mileage category. Why, that would be that truck, wouldn't it? Joe Ruttman lurking in second spot. This wasn't supposed to be a fuel derby. Stay tuned. We're getting down to decision time in Florida as ESPN Speed World coverage of the Chevy Truck Challenge is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road, and by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running, and by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. It has been an interesting afternoon, a fascinating second half, and now it has come down to this. With 18 laps to go, Mike Wallace wondering if he can make it on fuel, and Joe Ruttman wondering if his truck is good enough on the long run to make the pass.
Joe Ruttman, as we went to break, was about twice as far back. He was about a half second behind. Now he is just a matter of car lengths, truck lengths, I should say, 1/3 of a second back, 1/3 of a second.
And Mike Bliss, mentioned, was a pre-race favorite, lurking back there, hoping he can take advantage of any weakness on the part of the two up front. Hornaday, slipping and sliding around, has dropped to 4th, and Sprague has been an unspectacular 5th most of the way.
And once again, Bliss catches Tony Roper at a bad spot, coming off that flat corner. Ever see Sprague go by? Ever see Pirelli? Brian Reffner and Greg Biffle. 16 laps to go. Biffle up in 8th spot.
Great run.
Oh, here's a battle for 3rd spot.
Hornaday just will not be denied. He comes to the bottom on Bliss. Mike tries to hold on around the outside. Don't bump your trucks together, boys. Sprague will follow. Ooh, and I don't know, did he get loose or did Sprague touch him? It looked like he just might have gotten loose, trying to pinch the truck through the corner. And as a result, Bliss was able to hold on.
Run your line, you run her back down.
And Jimmy Smith said just run a good line. You can run them back down. Because he lost a tremendous amount. He lost about a second and a half to the leaders battling with Ron Hornaday.
That's Bliss's team instructing him to stay cool. 15 still to go. I sympathize with Mike Wallace. If you're the leader and your crew chief tells you conserve fuel and you look in your mirror and see it full of last year's winner, one must wonder how one does that.
Keep the lead but save fuel. Exactly. How do you do that exactly?
There's the spacing. That's your leader, the black truck of Wallace, pursued by Ruttman. Good-sized gap back to Bliss. That really did cost him a bunch of real estate. Tough to get all of that back, but we'll stay cool. Try to do it. Mike Wallace had his shot at Winston Cup. Didn't work out. Made the truck deal with Kenny Schrader. That's working out very, very well. Thank you very much.
Chuck Bound, the dominant truck the first 120 laps on the racetrack. He's now 22 laps behind.
The story of what might have been for Bound. Totally dominated the first half of the race.
This is the battle for the lead. Mike Wallace, Purelator, Chevrolet, Joe Ruttman, LCI Ford. Coming down to it. 11 laps to go when they come by.
Interval to Mike Bliss as he tries to hold off Hornaday. Hornaday took a shot at him, and in the ensuing shuffle, they lost a lot of ground to the leaders. So now, for the moment, they run nose to tail. Bliss hoping that they can run them back down. That prospect appears to be fading with 11 to go. remember these two? It was the 24 that turned the 99 earlier. It appeared that Bound might have held him up for a little while there. Now Sprague is able to go by and take Pirelli with him. Also, the number 66 of Brian Reffner right behind Pirelli and having a good run here today. We haven't said enough about Brian Reffner, the former Cintas Rookie of the Year, who sits in 7th spot. Bliss doing a little more slipping and sliding around as Hornaday keeps pressure on him.
Out of the 3rd spot, as you can see, started 9th. Ron Hornaday started 2nd, back to 4th.
9 to go. At this point, Hornaday's got to know the best he can get out of this. His 3rd. And try to figure out a way to get around Bliss. Any effort to team up and run down the leaders at this point, I think, is pointless. And Bliss may just be hanging on.
Hornaday got loose that time coming off the corner. Lost it.
8 to go on the bottom. He gets another with you.
Dennis Trapp, I believe, talking to Mike Bliss.
The operative instruction there may have been keeping on the bottom. I'm not sure that Bliss could do that, despite his best efforts.
Let's go back to the leader, and Joe Ruttman, he's there.
Interval growing. Very similar situation to a year ago when late in the race, Ruttman caught Sprague at the white flag, touched him at the tailgate, brought him out turn 1. If that were to happen again this year.
No, I don't either.
But the concern, of course, for Wallace is whether he'll get to the white flag. His crew chief has alerted him to the possibility he may not have the fuel mileage to go the distance.
Here comes Rutt. He's there on the back bumper. I'll tell you what, if Mike Wallace runs out of gas now, there's no wreck 2 trucks.
Boy, this has played right into Ruttman's hands. He was struggling with restarts. We had a rash of yellows. The truck would go nowhere on short runs. He slipped back as far as, was it 4th, Benny? And now, praying for long runs. He has the one he needs. And with 6 laps to go, coming down to 5 to go, he is in position to win it for the second week in a second race in a row. He's on the bottom as they go to 1. This is where it all happened last year. Wallace can't hold him off.
And Wallace is trying to come back on the outside.
Don't save fuel now, Mike. Go ahead and put your foot in it.
This is for the lead.
What a battle. All the way out to the concrete. They're both sideways. Look out. They're both going around as the new leader, Will Bliss, dodges him coming down the front straightaway. Unbelievable.
We're locked in right there. He's still the leader.
Let's see.
You will be the leader, buddy. You will be the leader.
This will require a bit of sorting out. Wallace obviously with damage to the right front. Bliss managed to thread his way through the damage as Ruttman and Wallace got together battling for the lead with 5 to go.
Now we see he's knocked a fuel pump or an oil line or something off and has a fire under the truck. I think the pits would be a good place to go right now, Mike.
That's a good bit of blaze there. Wow. It started wild. It's going to finish wild. Hornaday and Bound got together on the very first lap. And now Mike Wallace is not going to make it back to the pits. I think it may be time to get out, Mike. Man, so close. Well, here's another look at it.
These both, like pirouettes, just spin, and Mike, boom, catches the wall with the right rear. The front comes around, and Ruttman goes down to the inside.
Now, somewhere through the field will come Bliss to take the lead. Here's how it started.
Going into turn 3, and we see Ruttman just gets loose. Goes up, they make contact, they both spin. And Ruttman goes down. Does he hit the inside wall? Doesn't look like it.
Looks like he comes back around and keeps it out of the concrete. You're looking from the grandstand. Here's how it looked. The contact that helps decide the race. Look at the thumbs up. Everybody has a different opinion. Wow. We're going to have a heck of a conclusion. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back. Mike Bliss has just run out of fuel. Let's go track
He called in on the radio and said the fuel pressure light is coming on. It's sputtering. I have to come in. So he has to give up the lead.
Don't speed on pit road. Jerry Dodson urging his driver. Unbelievable sequence of events at the end of the event. Ron Hornaday is your leader. Missed that radio traffic, but here's what put the number 2 truck, the Team ASE Ford, in the lead. Wallace battling with Rutman for the top spot. The simultaneous spin. Wow.
And right now, Joe Rutman is still in second place. And I don't know how much damage he has to this truck. He goes around. Probably not a lot of damage to that truck, and he still is in second place.
Caught the right rear pretty well, but apparently has not cut the tire or doesn't have any sheet metal in on the tire. Wallace, enough said right there. His concern was whether he had enough fuel to get to the end. So Bliss takes the lead as the first and second place trucks.
There's another poor sucker out of fuel.
And there's Brian Raffner out of fuel. As Mike said, there's another poor sucker out of fuel.
Yeah, that was
and there's
Bliss
another car.
on the
Here's
radio.
Mike Skinner out of fuel.
Bliss took the lead, ran out of fuel under yellow, had to make that pit stop. Now Raffner and Skinner are likewise out of fuel. Hornaday, who was running 4th when all of this began, moves to the front, and Rutman, who was involved in the spin, got the truck back into gear, got back underway in what would have been 5th position, and that has now become 2nd. Wow. Remember how it all started? Seems like a long time ago.
This is the absolute first lap of the race. The pole sitter, Chuck Bound and Ron Hornaday, go down pit road. Now, Bound goes back on the racetrack, so did Hornaday, but that's what we saw on the very first lap of the race.
Hornaday trying to get by on the bottom. Bound absolutely refused to let it happen. It's just like the Daytona 500 in 1979. He drove him lower and lower and lower. They bumped, they hit. The difference is neither of them crashed. Since, they both had eventful days. Bound dominated the first half of the race. Then his truck went south, his handling went away, and he's now out of the event. Hornaday, on the other hand, has had everything imaginable happening to him, including a near crash. We're going to go long because of this late race activity. The golf is next, and Bill Weber, it's your turn to talk.
Fred Graves, it's your turn to talk. You can smile, but can he make it, or will he run out of fuel, Hornaday?
Well, we're all just praying to the Lord we got enough for 2 more laps, and they call this thing green. So NASCAR has given us another caution here. I hope it doesn't one too many.
What do you think?
It's going to be real close.
Good luck.
Thank you.
They are. He's really being very calm about this. They are very, very concerned that Hornaday might not have enough, and these extra caution laps are just killing him. 1 to go this time.
The caution is for the cleanup from the Wallace truck, which caught on fire as he was headed back to the pits. He did not make it back. That called for the yellow flag, and during the yellow, we've seen 3 trucks run out of fuel. We'll take a look at the second incident that Hornaday had to survive. Now, this is just a few laps ago, and this is sideways.
It's 45 degrees. How in the world he saved it? And not only did he save it, he kept the lead.
Unbelievable. From there, Wallace went on to his moment of destiny for the day, the one that left his truck all beat up and burned up. If Hornaday runs out of fuel, and you heard Fred Graves being a little coy about that, the lead would return to Rutman. That's amazing. Marty?
Yeah, and the thing we ought to add about Joe Rutman, remember that the Roush team is the team that gets the best mileage out here. So he might be the only guy that we could feel confident in saying could go the distance on this thing. But then the question mark with him is, how much damage is there from the spin?
Following down through the Napa Field summary, let's note that Hornaday has now led over 3,000 laps in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series competition. That is nearly 25% of all the laps run in the history of the series. But no laps that he's ever run have been more important to him, I would think, than these two. They're going to come to a green flag, followed by the white flag, followed by the checkered flag. It is now a 2-lap race. Who's got the fuel to make it? Hornaday gets the great jump on the restart. Rutman second. Sprague is third. Pirelli is fourth.
And Greg Biffle is fifth. And another Roush truck. And here comes Joe Rutman. He closes in. He'll get the white flag, this time by.
Rutman needed long runs. This is anything but that. In the long run, he was able to get 2 and alongside the leader, Wallace, but then they spun out together. This is a 2-lap dash. Hornaday leads them past the white flag. The fuel light is reported blinking on Hornaday's truck. He's off one and down the short chute.
And Pirelli's on the inside of the 24 truck of Sprague.
Race for third. Pirelli has it. Hornaday's truck continues to thunder. Rutman not able to do anything as they head for the final turn. The checkered flag is in the air, and Ron Hornaday has won the Chevy Truck Challenge in amazing fashion with Rutman second. Wow, what an afternoon. That is a well-earned celebration right there, Benny.
Man, I'm telling you, what a well-earned celebration. Right. And Ron Hornaday, I wonder how many times he asked Fred how many laps to go.
There's Corelli to offer a wave and congratulations. Those guys have raced a lot of miles together back in the Winston West days. Hornaday held on in every sense of the word. Held on in the first lap when Bound took him to the grass. Held on late in the race when the truck turned sideways, battling Mike Wallace for the lead. Held on at the end with just enough fuel to win the Chevy Truck Challenge. Last year, his championship defense here started badly with a crash that left him hurt. This year, he goes to victory lane.
Let's see if we can raise.
Got enough fuel left to do the donuts? Here he comes. Benny, you're not going to get to him. He's got his helmet hanging on the hook of the truck. We're hoping Marty will get there. 16th career win. Started in second spot, or 18th career win, I should say. 4th on the big racetracks. Let's go to Marty and hear from the winner.
Well, let's go right around here real quickly and get in here. First off, the flu. What a bizarre race. What do you think?
I shifted that thing and it started sputtering and the gang, and I just started wiggling the truck the last lap. I wanted to pit. Fred said stay out there. I'll tell you what, this Napa team is awesome. Napa brakes. Good year. I was the first one to argue about these tires were going to make the distance. They did. The tire wear in the first half was great. I got to thank Dale, Teresa. Mom, I got to say hi, and I'll be there tomorrow. Wish you well.
Well, this is a great medicine for him, but I tell you guys, he looks exhausted.
Congratulations, Ron Hornaday. Thank you, Bill Weber and Marty Reed. Great job on pit road. Benny Parsons, we've had a wild afternoon, and there's a lot more to come. 26 races to go to decide the championship. The Chevy Truck Challenge belongs to Ron Hornaday, and golf is next on ESPN. I'm Dave Despain. Thanks for being here, and so long.